Hello and welcome to the Place to Soar, where our motto is step out and redesign, and the focus is always on you. I'm your host, Anita Russell, and this handsome gentleman that you see right here is my guest. His name is Mr. Algernon Hall, yes. But I'm just going to call him Al.
Yes, you can do that.
And so I'm going to start off as I usually do by reading my guest bio. So Al is the founder and visionary of Jubilee Children's Entertainment and the Dreamcatchers program. Al is a graduate of Westside High School in Newark, New Jersey. Algernon realized early on that education, positive surroundings, and faith would serve as a vehicle for success and would help him escape the daily dysfunction he was exposed to while growing up in East Orange and in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm sure there's probably some people out there in the audience who can kind of relate to some of that.
Absolutely.
He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice from New Jersey City University in 2001, and shortly thereafter in 2004 acquired an MBA from Dowling College in Oakdale, New York. The educational experiences inspired him to launch character education and empowerment programs with Jubilee Children's Entertainment and the Dreamcatchers. He employed his talents and faith to create a children's character called Jubilee. Mm-hmm. The character has grown to be the face of character education throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The programs have impacted over 250,000 children in various school districts from grades pre-K through 5. In 2001, he launched the Dreamcatchers program, which provides empowerment and mentorship for students in grades 6 to 12. That's a lot of stuff that you got going on. So I'd like you to just kind of start off and give us your own version of who you are.
I'm just a man of great faith and a man that's passionate about dreams and just really passionate about inspiring people to do the same. That's how I live my life daily, every single day.
Excellent. So how did you move to getting into the focus on children? Because that's the piece that I find particularly interesting.
It started when I was in the graduate program at Dowling College. Mm-hmm. I initially went into the program with aspirations and career advancement in the company I was working for. But soon as I entered the program and I started going through taking classes, I realized and identified that I was an entrepreneur. And I started off, dabbling in things for the wrong reasons, because this person was making money in this or this particular industry, you make money. But I wasn't doing anything that was tied into my gifts, my talents, and abilities.
Yes.
So what happens when people do that? A lot of times their careers or that stint is short-lived because they're not doing what they were called to do. So I just kept feeling like children raise up in my heart. And I never forget, it was a church that I was attending, Living Faith Christian Center in Pennsauken, New Jersey. And Dr. Lamont, the late Dr. Lamont, he had this ministry called Entrepreneurs for Christ.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things that he was really just trying to encourage us to do is to seek God early. And, I wanted to find something that I was called to do. I knew I wasn't really following what I was called to do. And I just got up and I just prayed, consistently for days at a time. And God spoke to me and said, I want you to create a children's entertainment company. And at first I was like, what you mean a children's entertainment company?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to do birthday parties, Elmo, Dora the Explorer? Like, what do you know?
Big Bird.
And exactly.
Yeah.
But it was clear. I want you to have a character that's unique, not a lion, not a tiger, something that's unique that people don't see every day. So that's when we created Jubilee, which is a koala bear. And no exaggeration, within a 2-day period, 2 to 3 day period, I had this little red notebook, and he gave me the entire business plan.
Oh, wow.
On how to start Jubilee Children's Entertainment. So that's how it started. And I always had a love for kids. I'm I'm a big kid at heart, very silly, connect with kids. And I just believe that it's important to impact kids at the seed level because they're exposed to so much dysfunction at an early age. And I think that if you catch them early, you'll have a good start.
So can you talk a little bit about the fact that you focus on character education?
Yeah, character education is big, particularly where I'm from, in East Orange and in Newark, New Jersey. There was a lot of dysfunction, still a lot of dysfunction that kids are exposed to in repetition daily. Television, what they see on television, what they hear on the radio, what they see on their porch every day. And when I was growing up, coming up in East Orange and in Newark, there was no outlets or vehicles that really just were really coming to reinforce positive character traits. So I wanted to create something that could impact in that area because it was a need. That's one thing about being an entrepreneur. I believe as an entrepreneur, we're problem solvers. So I had a gifting and I saw that I felt like God was leading me into that direction. So character was something that was vital to impact.
That's really good. I like that because when I met you, and of course I met you as my Uber driver.
That's right.
Which I think is so funny.
Put me on blast.
But I'm going to tell you, side note, I love Uber. And the reason I do is because I meet incredible people.
Same with me.
I've had incredible conversations driving from point A to point B with an Uber driver. And that's the experience that I had for you. And it was like this, like, I need to connect with you. I need to get your number. And all of that. So there's a lot of things that are packed into, like when I read your bio, just a lot that's packed in there. And I had the opportunity actually to go onto your YouTube channel and look at some of the Dreamcatchers, the Dreamcatchers.
The Dream series,
so can you talk a little bit about the Dreamcatchers program and how that the series that, you know, the video series, how those two kind of play together?
Sure. So, you know, a Dreamcatcher started in 2010. You know, we launched Jubilee Children's Entertainment in 2008, and I was doing principal meetings. I was going into the districts and I was doing these meetings, quote unquote, pitching, for lack of a better word, you know, tell them about our company, our service. And a lot of the administrators said, this is a great program. What do you have for our middle school and high school students? And at the time, I didn't have anything. I'm the type of person that when I have a conversation with somebody, I'm always listening to them and I'm always looking to find out if I could be a resource for them. Who can I connect them with? Who do I know? And it was a partner that I had, and I don't call customers or clients, I don't call them that, I call them partners because we have the same goal, and that's to impact our children. So one of the partners I was working with, Dr. Mitchell, she was the executive director at Respond Inc. in Camden. Every year she put on this program, a mentoring program for kids, and she had a million things on her plate. So I'm listening to it, and I just said to her one day, I said, Dr. Mitchell, I said, why don't you allow me to help organize and facilitate this mentoring program? I said, I have access to a plethora of successful individuals from the inner city, and I would love to do that. So she said, let's do it. And so that was the first year that I did. I launched the Dreamcatchers program. I had 7 speakers. It was overkill, but it was powerful. I had 7 speakers, and then it took off from there. As I began to move forward, and in our faith, I mean, you know, it's a proven fact that a lot of people are in bondage because of their fear and because of doubt. Adults, not only kids, you know, our experiences, our imaginations are shaped off of what we see, what we experience, and what we hear. And it's unfortunate because what it does is it creates fear, and people aren't pursuing their dreams. People feel like it's too late for them. People feel like they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they don't have the resources, and that's a lie. So my passion is to strike that fire, ignite a fire in individuals, to pursue their passions, their ideas, their visions, their dreams, their God-given gifts, their talents and abilities.
Absolutely.
And to pursue them with passion and with vigor. So I just literally, again, you know, I had a difficult year last year. I went through a divorce. And while I was praying, you know, God said that, you know, you need to share this. And in 2 days, I made a commitment to myself. I put a hard deadline on myself that I'm going to start this dream series. So I started promoting it on social media. And New Year's Eve, that's when I did the first episode. And we completed 30 episodes within season 1. And now I just completed today, 14 just dropped today, episode 14 for season 2. So that's for the adults. So it's a combo. So Dreamcatchers is all about the kids. Dreamcatchers. Dream Chasers is the program that's a before and after school program. And the Dream series is just a series for anybody, but it's mainly for anybody that needs inspiration, that needs that motivation, that push to overcome odds and dysfunction and adversity to pursue their dreams.
So you mentioned the program where you had the speakers come in.
Correct.
So what are some of the topics that when you have the speakers come in, what are some of the topics that they will talk about in the program?
Really any topic, but what I do is when I sit down, I kind of give them a menu, the administrators, directors menus. I mean, my passion, my heart is a topic called Awaken the Dream. I have Awaken the Dream. For inner cities, I have Beat the Streets, Leadership 101.
Oh, wow, nice.
Do you really want to be successful? An analogy called Get Out the Blocks and Finish Strong. It's a track analogy. In a sprint, everybody knows that's familiar with track. In a sprint, the start is very important, getting out the blocks. Bullying the dream killer. There's so many topics that but really what I do is when I go into schools or when I go into universities, I listen to that administrator, to that dean, and I find out what their challenges are and find out what their goals are, and we create something specifically for that department or for that school. So really any topic.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. So what else do you do? I mean, that's like the vast.
It is, but you know, it all ties in. You know, when you talk about character, that ties into your dreams. When you talk about dreams, that ties in not into the performance that for our kids in school, but it also ties into adults because everything is connected, right? I mean, what we do in high school, you know, I talk about that with kids all the time. What you do today matters. You know, we talked about choices. Your last speaker, she talked about choices, and you know, everything that we do connects. What we do now connects in our 20s. What we do, you know, in our 20s, like, you know, there's repercussions for some of the actions that we have. There's positive and negative impacts in our lives. So they're all connected. But I'm writing a book, Awaken the Dream. I have a goal to be one of the top motivational speakers in the country. I said it. I'm not afraid of it. I want to have a strong online presence. My goal is to travel the world and to do motivational talks like Les Brown or E.T. the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas the hip hop preacher. That's where I'm going, and that's what I feel like God has called me to do.
Oh, that's excellent. So what I'm hearing and what I like about everything that you're saying is the fact that this isn't just stuff that you put out there, that you embody this, that you live your life the way you're describing. Yeah. And I would imagine that some of the when you're talking about the character education, that those are some that you draw a lot from your own experiences and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about how your own personal experiences kind of play into the work that you do?
So look, every topic that I talk about, it was inspired by God or through an experience. So particularly with the Dream series, every single topic I talk about, I'm really just sharing what God is sharing with me. Fear is real, adversity is real, and but I just made it a decision in my 30s that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, I don't want to die full. I want to die empty. Everything that God has put in me, I want to get it out. Everything. I don't want to be afraid. I want to live. I don't want to exist. You know, and existing is walking around being fearful, full of doubt. I wish I would have, I could have. No, you can. You know, so those topics are inspired by that. You know, they're inspired by that. They're inspired by conversations that I have because it's crazy because I call, you know, I've been given the name the Dream Coach, you know, because I'm like the dream coach, the rah-rah dude, the hype man, because I'm so passionate about dreams. You know, I talk to people all the time and it's like, I draw from their experience. I can have a conversation with you and you could be sharing a situation or some adversity and it breaks my heart to hear it, but it's something that I know somebody else is going through and somebody else needs to hear something positive. Not only the person that I'm talking to, you, but somebody else is going through that same experience, that same situation, and it's hindering them. You know, the last episode I did in 13, it was called Hang-Ups and Setbacks. It's so many things that we hold on to in our lives that's preventing us from moving forward, from relationships, from starting that business, from going back to school, writing that book. You know, what we experienced, that somebody says something painful or hurtful to us, and we just keep meditating and keep rehearsing it. Or maybe we've seen somebody go through something very, very difficult, and we made a vow, a pact. You say, I'll never put myself through that. But we're not meant to operate and to live in that way. So that's what inspires the topics that I talk about.
Excellent. One of the SOAR values that you selected was creativity. So can you tell our audience a little bit about why you selected that particular value?
Because I think it's important for us to really identify what we're gifted at. And through those prayer sessions with God, you know, seeking early in the morning on my face, I had no idea how creative I was. I mean, I created through him a character. You hear my voice now. This is not how Jubilee talks. Jubilee's voice is my voice. Everything, that program, a system that I created with my voice, I created a system that I'm marketing and schools are interested in. Created the character. I'm writing a book now. I write poetry. I'm great at spoken word. I'm gifted at that. I could write a poem in 5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
I'm not 5 minutes. I've always been a creative person. I have an imagination. Imagination is limitless. So I was able to look at that topic and identify, because I'm like a flower that's blossoming every single day. I'm creative and I'm gifted at a lot of things. I could sing, I could dance, I could write, I can act. God gave me that for a reason. And I walked the earth for 20-something years not knowing what I was called to do or what my purpose in life is. And I'm just ecstatic right now that I'm walking in it, and every day I'm discovering something more and more.
Excellent, excellent. One of my favorite people on the planet, well, she's no longer here with us, is Maya Angelou.
Yes.
And one of the things that I found really intriguing about Maya Angelou is the way that she would describe her life. And so I actually saw a video of her where she was describing her life decade by decade by decade.
Wow.
And what was phenomenal about her description of each decade is that each decade was getting better and better and better. And I think it was kind of an awakening moment for me, because a lot of times people look at aging as winding down, but she looked at it as winding up.
Right. Wow.
So if you were, right now, if you were 80 years old, how would you look back on your life in some of the decades? And what do you think are some of the things that you would see? If you could think about, I've lived my life, I'm now 80 years old, and now I'm sort of, thinking a lot about some of the things that I've done in my life, some of the things that I've accomplished, maybe some of the things that I didn't accomplish, that I set out to do. How would you see yourself if you were 80 years old right now?
I would see myself as a man, and it's crazy, it's going to sound crazy when I say this. I think about my funeral. I see myself impacting millions of people over the course of my life. Every time we go in front of an assembly and there's 400 kids there, that's 400. An assembly at a school, that's 950. So I look back on my life and, I think that right now, seeking God and pursuing God, that I will be proud of me. I would hope that God will be proud of my walk. It took me a while to get there, and tomorrow's not guaranteed, so I'm going to push as hard as I can. So I think I would look back at that and say I was a man that was committed to inspire others. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So the flip side of that question is, what do you think people are going to say about you?
That Al had a big heart, huge heart, an amazing person. I have a big heart. I do have a big heart. Sometimes, I have issues saying no, but I'm always, this guy would take off his jacket for anybody. This guy would give his last. This guy was committed to help others. That's what they would say. That's what I know they would say. Everybody loves Algernon Hall. I'm a good dude. That's
funny. And I don't mean funny, like
Right.
I don't believe it, but
Right,
you know,
right.
it's just kind of.
No,
funny.
I mean, if you live your life right,
Yeah, exactly.
when you live in your life right, and you are a
Exactly.
genuine person,
Absolutely.
you know, I don't have any enemies. I don't have not one enemy.
Absolutely.
I might have people that are envious. I don't have no
Yeah,
enemies.
but you know, that's just
Yeah,
whatever.
everybody has that.
Exactly, exactly. So how would your kids describe you?
The greatest father in the world. My daughter is 2.5. My son is 7. And let me tell you something. It brings me such joy to see them. They get excited when they hear the Dream series. My daughter,
nice.
2.5. Dreamcatchers, Daddy. Dreamcatchers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So they're listening to that. That's something that my dad wasn't able to impart to me. So they're hearing that. They're hearing me and seeing me do things and be fearless at a young age. And it's my hope and it's my desire that it's going to rub off. And as my son and my daughter grows older, they would have been exposed to entrepreneurship. They would have been exposed to their father being educated. They would be exposed to, first and foremost, what I should have said was their father being a man of God, and just a good person with a good heart. So that's what they would say. I mean, my son tells me that every day. He said that to me yesterday, as God is my witness. He said, somebody asked him, he has like this little, he goes to Morristown Friends, and they have like a worship portion because it's very diverse with religions and stuff. And they said, you know, they asked him, who was the nicest guy? Like, who's the kindest person? You know, he said, my daddy. He told me that.
That's
He said, because he's always talking to people. He's always willing to talk to people and help people. 7, and he said that. Melted my heart. Melted my heart.
That is incredible. So the time is kind of winding down, but I want to make sure that you kind of put it out there in terms of website or YouTube channel, all of that, so that our audience can kind of connect.
We here. Or we don't know.
It doesn't matter.
So yeah, so for Jubilee and also for Dreamcatchers, you can contact me at info@jubileekidswithaz.com. That's info@jubileekidswithaz.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you'll be inspired, you'll be empowered. That's at Dreamcatchers120. And if you want to follow along on Facebook, it's at Algernon Hall, ALGERNON, Hall, HALL. And if you want to follow the Dream series on YouTube, you can just find the YouTube channel at Dreamcatchers, Algernon Hall. Thank you.
Okay, so final words of wisdom for our audience.
Final words of wisdom is to live and not exist. Live and not exist. Get everything that God has placed in you out. That's what we were called to do, and it's our time.
And you know, one thing I did not mention is the other SOAR value that you had selected was
Vision.
vision and purpose. Yeah.
Well,
so everything that you said kind of
absolutely.
like everything that you said, when I look at those values, because I define those things very specifically.
I
You
saw that,
the information. And so I like it when people make a selection and then the conversation really, really embodies that. And I kind of get a sense of like, yeah, I see why you chose that and everything. So I want to thank you so much for being my Uber driver.
Yes.
And for agreeing to come on my show and talk to me and all that good stuff. So to the audience, make sure you go and check him out. This is an incredible man of God, wonderful father, just a person that just pours into other individuals. I consider myself to have been blessed that I have gotten to know him, and I'm hoping we have the opportunity to work together and some things like that. So we're signing off now. I want to thank you very, very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time at The Place to Soar. Bye-bye.